Okay, so I did manage to get this template up. So you got to find it in the file section of Canvas. If you go into budgeting and forecasting, and then it's budget proposal template right here, April 4th, 40 kilobytes. Just take that and download it. Okay, so I managed to get mine open now. At this point, you should build your executive summary as you go by giving the most important idea from each section of the template. And now the part I'm focusing in on is the sales forecast. Just briefly introduce this section by saying, sales has been forecasted for the first 5 years. And then you can create a simple table that shows all the different sales. Now, how do you do that? I would be inclined to use, even though it's kind of backwards, I would use the week 3 sales forecast that you did. And I would take the moderate one and I would put it in here. So let's go back to that spreadsheet that we did at another time. See how we had the 3 different scenarios? I would just take the moderate scenario and I would take the first 5 years of it, copy, and then I would get all those values and I would put them in here. 260,000, 275, 730, 298, 202, 322, 505, and 348, 789. Okay, and I would put that in there, and I would then have some verbiage here. I would say, the table below indicates the sales forecast. This is based on growth rates of, and go back to the spreadsheet, indicate what the annual growth rates would be of so much in lawns cut. It also assumes a 5% increase in the $125 per lawn cutting fee each year, something like that. Okay, but put it in your own words, don't do what I did, and then make sure you get rid of all of the guidance in here, and make sure that this is not italic or in bold. It should be just regular. Okay, and then you're having a brief introduction. This section addresses sales forecasting issues. Okay, now methods and assumptions. What I would do is I would just describe what the method is. Something like, the method used was to do a calculation based on the number of lawns we felt were reasonable to acquire in our first 5 years of business. We assumed a lawn cut rate of $125 per lawn and 8 lawns per day, 5 days a week for 52 weeks. Okay, something like that is what you would do. Now make sure that you use your own words and that you don't just type what I typed here. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to the capital expenditure budget. This is where you would put the capital expenditure budget, and that's where you would pull up that Excel file that I had previously that said oops, the wrong one. Here, I would pull up that Excel file we were working on earlier that would have the capital expenditures, and I couldn't find it, but here the capital expenditure budget would be, I would go down here and say, figure whatever it is indicates the capital expenditure budget. In the first year of operation. And then what I would do is, comment on what some of the big items were, as well as the grand total. Okay, and then you'll have that spreadsheet that you cut and paste right in here, and just so that it's described. Make sure this is not in boldface type. First sentence of each paragraph is indented 5 spaces. Okay, and then that's how I would complete this week's work.